Okay. So for group artists, we are talking about the writers of the books, and I've mentioned some of them already. When they are two, you bring the two of them together. Or we said that in research, we most of the time refer to what the surname of the individuals. You don't refer to their first names. So for group artists, that is first time with an abbreviation. So if you have a group artist, the first time with an abbreviation, for example, Center for Disease Control and Prevention. If Center for Disease Control and Prevention has put out an article, or they came out with a paper which you are trying to cite in your work, so that for the first time you must at all costs write the full name. That is the group artist, Center for Disease Control and Prevention. There are a lot of people out there, so they don't put their individual names on their papers. If they are coming out with any paper in the name of the institutions, they just put the institution there. They don't put their individual names. So when you are citing that particular or those kind of papers, for the first time, you have to bring the full name, Center for Disease Control and Prevention. However, if you already, or in your write-up, you have already referred to Center for Disease Control and Prevention in your work, and you have already came out with the, how do you call it? You already have the abbreviation, for example, CDC in your work already. So when you are doing the reference, you don't just bring the Center for Disease Control and Prevention any longer. What you do is I just bring what? The abbreviation that you have already stated in your work. However, if that's the first time you are doing it, then you are expected as the man that you clearly indicate the full name before subsequently probably you begin to what? Just state what? The abbreviation. So then all subsequent citations just come like CDC 2019. So a situation where three different artists or papers pointing to the same issue from different perspectives, when you have three people or three different papers pointing to the same issue from different perspectives, this is how the intercitation is done. I'm sure you are looking at all that I'm saying. If you are there, you can see. If you look at the second paragraph or the third line, in other words, the third paragraph, you want to call it that way. I'm saying that a situation where three different artists or papers, three different papers, are pointed to the same issue from different perspectives. If you want to reference those papers, this is how you go about it. For example, you see the first paper, Snow, 2010. There you see semicolon. Baghdadi, 2005. You see semicolon. Then We Road, 2011. All the three papers are referring to the same thing. And when you are doing the citation, the three papers that you have read, and they are all talking about the same thing, you must also what? Reference the three. So for example, studies show that gender inequalities may work differently in different contexts to hinder either men or women from accessing healthcare. So this information, when you read Snow 2010, it is there. When you read Baghdadi 2005, it is there. And when you read We Road 2011, it's also there. And since you have gotten the information from these three people, you must bring the three references up there for people to see that the information that you are giving to us is not from only one person. You are bringing all the sources where that information can be found or can be found. So you have brought the three names: Snow 2010, Baghdadi 2005, and We Road 2011. That means you have all referenced all the three papers that you have read that are talking about the same thing. That are saying that because of gender inequalities that exist, and they exist in different contexts, that also hinder or prevents either men or women from accessing health care. And this is not coming from only one person, but 3 papers that you have read. And therefore, you must also do the honorary thing by referencing what? All the 3 papers that you read. If you look at it, we are moving gradually. First, we talk about one person who has written a paper, and we just have to acknowledge that person. We move on and look at 2 people who have written a paper, how to acknowledge those 2 people. We move on and look at a whole group of people, that is an institution. If, for example, University of Ghana have written a paper and they are not putting it in the name of one person, and you want to reference the University of Ghana, for the first time, you write fully University of Ghana. But subsequent one, you can. And now we are looking at a situation where 3 or 4 papers are referring to the same issue from different perspectives, and how to reference them is what I'm talking about here. Then in the intercitation to notes, directly quoting the material or making reference to an entire book, article, or other work, you only have to make reference to the author and the year of publication, and not the page number in your in-text reference. You just have to make what? Reference to the author, the year of publication, and not the page number in your in-text reference. All sources cited in the text must appear in the reference list at the end of your paper. All the text that you have cited, all of them must appear at the end of what? Your work or in your paper. So if you are directly quoting from a work, you have to include the author, the one who wrote the paper, the year of publication, and the page number for the reference, preceded by what? P. If you look at this one, there was a mistake that I want us to look at. Instead of this one, not end, not putting not here, I put not here, so that you should look at it clearly. If you look at the first statement, I said the year of publication and the page number in your dissertation, not the page number. So take care of that. After I will change that. So introduce the quotation with a signal phrase that includes the author's last name, followed by the date of publication in parentheses. Parentheses is simply what? In brackets. So you see the date. The year is in what? Brackets. That is what we are referring to as well. Parentheses. It's not anything different. So we are saying that according to Jones, which year Jones wrote the paper? Is there 1998. Then because you are quoting, you put what? Inverted commas there. Students often had difficulty using APA referencing style or APA style, especially when it was their first time. Full stop. So which page in the Jones book can you find that particular quoting that you are putting here? Students often had difficulty using the APA style, especially when it was their first time. You can find that at page 199 when you take Jones' book. You can find that what Jones is saying at page 199. Since you are quoting, you are lifting everything verbatim as he has said, you must indicate the author, that is the name Jones is there. The year of publication is there, is in parentheses, that is 1998. And then the page number is at the end, where the inverted comma has also come again. Page number, P is stand for what? The page. So page number 199. When you open that place, you can see or find what exactly Jones is saying. If you have any question, please ask. Let me explain before we continue. If you have any clarification, please ask.
Sir, about the 8 hour, the 8 hour that you were talking about.
Yeah.
Yes, if my understanding is correct, it means that if there are a lot of people that you have to reference, you can pick one name and then put 8 hour in front of it.
Not one name. You cannot pick any name.
Okay.
The first author is the name that will come.
Okay.
The first person on the list
Okay.
That's the first surname that you are going to use, not any name at all. The first name.
Okay. All right, sir. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. So even the first name can start with Z. But if the Z, that is the first person name on the paper, that Z must come. Even though there are names that start with A or whatever, the first Z must come.
Okay. All right.
All right. Any other? So we can move on, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. If you don't understand, you keep quiet, you not get it too. So the inter-citation, we are continuing. Jones, 1990, found students often had difficulty using APA star. And then the inverted comma has also come, page number 1999. What implication does this have for teachers? Then the sentence ends there. So because you are lifting this information directly from what Jones have said, you must put them in what? Inverted commas, which I did in this for you to see. And you must also bring what? The page number, which clearly is here for all of us to see. 19, that is what? Page 199. So if the author is not named in the signal phrase, place the author's last name, the year of publication, and the page number in parentheses after the quotation. So what we are saying is that if we are saying from the beginning, you have not mentioned the name of the author of that particular writer, you have not mentioned the person's name. So what you do is that you can put whatever you want to say in your quotation mark, but when you finish, the name of the author, the year, and page number, all of them should come together in the parentheses, that is in the bracket. So for example, she stated, students often had difficulty using APA star. So you see Jones, 1998, the page number follow, 199. So that is what you do if you don't start with the name of the author, but you want to put everything together at the end of that particular statement. Those are the things that you do. You put the name of the author, the year, and the page number all in the parentheses, that's in the bracket, for people to see that this is where the information is coming from. But she did not offer any explanation as to why. That is the continuation of that particular statement. So you have seen how the two are done. First, you mention the name of the author and then you put the year into parentheses. And then at the end of it, you put the page number out there. At the same time, we're also saying that you can equally also come out and put the name of the author, the year, and the page number also at the end of the word. So these are things that you need to know. It's very important to identify all of this. Then going forward, if you are also quoting the exact words of someone else, introduce the quotation with an inter-citation in parentheses. Any sentence, punctuation goes after what? The closing parentheses. So for example, according to Brown, 2019, then direct quote is there. That is what? Into what? You see the direct quote that I'm pointing to. They are all inverted commas. Then you see the page number, 1021. The second one, you see Brown, 2019, found that direct quote, page number, 1021. Some other introductions or some other else is also talking about the same thing. Direct quote, Brown, 2019, page number, 1021. So sometimes, depending on your own style, the writing style, you can decide to say according to somebody, and then you bring the year, whatever the person is saying, you put all them in the inverted commas, and then you put the page number at the end of it. That can also be done and it's acceptable. However, in some of the referencing, you will see that when you are quoting somebody and the words that you are quoting, The words are more than 40. You count the words 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's more than 40. You don't use any inverted commas. You leave the word standing and you do the referencing. I'm sure we get to a session where I will explain that further using the examples in there. So the other one that I also want us to look at, what? Reference list. The reference list is a single list that you find at the end of the work. So when people are done with their research, you see the reference list at end there. So all the papers that you have cited in the work, according to WHO 2017, 2016, 2014, you must have a reference list at the end of your work. That's have to indicate all the papers that you cite in your work. All of them must appear at the back of your work. If they do not appear at the back of your work, you'll be penalized for that. So it is expected of all of us that when we are doing the inter-citation, we take record of all the materials so that they can all appear at the end of the work that you have done. That is when you are using referencing manager like EndNote I am using, or you are using Mendeley, it helps you to keep record of all the articles that you have used so that at the end of the day, you can get them at the back of your work without any problem. So the reference list is a single list, as I said, found at the end of what? The research work. The books, journal articles, electronic sources. So you can see all of them there. Provide full details for all the sources you reference in your work. So the reference list gives you the full details of all the reference lists at the back, and it is arranged what? Alphabetically. All the A papers will come first, followed by the B papers, C papers until you get to Z. However, if you are not using the APA referencing style, you are using others, the way they come also differ from when you are using APA referencing. It includes a complete citation at the end of your paper in the reference section. So the references are organized by the author's last name in alphabetic order or in alphabetical order, A to Z order. Use a hanging index to separate each list item. So what normally happens is, I think I'll show you a reference that you can see. The first, in the names that come, when the first reference list has come, the second one that come, you have to indent all the lines there. But I think I'll have an example to show you so that you know what exactly we are talking about, not just to listen to what I'm saying. So we want to look at some of the basic references format that we have. And when we get to that listing of all the, how do you call it? All the reference lists, we'll talk about them. We'll discuss them further. So first, the journal articles that you want to reference. There are a lot of things that you are going to reference. Some books, magazines, also sometimes videos that you watch. So you must know how to reference all of them. However, when you are using referencing manager, it does all of this for you. You don't suffer. It does everything for you easily. So the first thing that you have to do is that the author's name has to come, followed by date. When you are using or when you are referencing journal articles, the name of the authors will come, the date follow, the title of the work, source where you can retrieve the work, the URL or DO if available. So the author's name, notes, list each author's last name, initial as, for example, AA, ATA BB, ATA CC, and use an ampersand. That is, if you don't want to write AN before the final author's name comes. Then the second one is the year. The third one, the title of the article will come. Note, for words that are part of a greater whole, for example, articles, chapters, use sentence case. That one, it happens mostly in America when you want to use capital letters for the pronouns and then the title and subtitles, or all of that. Only the first word of the article and the subtitle and proper nouns are capitalized. So the fourth one, the title of the article or the journal has to come. Note the italics and capitalize each word in the journal. Then 5, the volume, that is italize the volume number or the article volume. If there is no issue, include a comma before the page range. So that's about the first one. And then the 6th issue that you have to look at, if you are doing article referencing, also note that the issue that is, if there is an issue number in addition to volume number, include it in the parenthesis. That is, if they are telling that if you take that volume, the number of that article that appear in that volume, that is what we are referring to as the issue number. It also appear there. Then the 7th is the page number, the page range. You also see the page range. An example there that we are going to look at. Then you also see the DO. That is the DOI is what? Digital Object Identifier. Anywhere you see DOI, it's simply telling you what? Digital Object Identifier. So that is how you are analyze or you do your referencing when you are looking at the basic article referencing. You have take an article, you want to reference it, and you want that reference to appear in what? The reference list. We talk about intercitation. Now we are talking about reference list. So the reference list, you see the name Ashi Jiwa. You see the abbreviation of what? The first names and middle names. You see Padilla. You see the abbreviations there. You take Tejaro is there. Kramer is there. Wright is there. Cascaroli is there. Clatin is there. Williams is there. Hill is there. And all of these people wrote that particular article. And the year is 2004. The title of the article is Understanding the Breast Cancer Experience of Women, a qualitative study of African American, Asian American, Latino, it's supposed to be Latino and Caucasian cancer survivors. So that's the title. And now you can see that particular title or that particular article in a psycho-oncology paper. You can see it in what? Psycho-oncology paper. And the volume is 13. The issue number is 6. The page ranges from 408 to 428. And where the article can be found, it is also located there. So that is about what? The basic referencing that we talk about when you are using articles. So clearly it's telling you that when you look at the referencing, you are using a simple article that you have used or you have do that citation in your work. This is how the referencing list should appear. In the referencing list, you should be able to bring all the names of people who contributed to that article. Then the title of the article follow. I want you to look at this thing critically. The names come, the year follow, the title of the article follow, then the article in which your particular paper can be found. If it is pregnancy and child health, that is the name of the article that you publish your paper in. That is what is coming. So in this case, your psycho-oncology paper. And the volume, papers have volumes. Volume 1 is there. Maybe when they publish 25 papers in it, they stop. Or they publish 26 papers in it or 30, they stop. Then they go to volume 2. And when you get to the volume, even when they publish the first paper in that volume, they call it what? Issue number 1. So the paper that is published in that particular volume, the first one is what? Issue number 1. If it is 2, issue number 2, until they get the number that they want, then they move to another volume. So if you look at this particular volume that we are talking about, it's volume 13. But this particular article we are referring to is what? Issue number 6. So you clearly see that it has been indicated there. The issue number 6 is indicated. And then the page range. So if you take that particular article, which page will you see this particular work? Understanding Breast Cancer Experience of Women. Qualitative study of African American, Asian American, Latino, and Caucasian cancer survivors. The page number that you are going to find this is what? 408 to 428. That is where you are going to find. And remember, we also talk about the DOI, that is Digital Object Identifier. So the Digital Object Identifier is also telling you the address is here. So if you don't get the title of this paper, you get this particular address, doi.org 10.1002.pon.2.750. If you get this particular address here, you can also locate this particular paper. So this is how you do basic article that you want to reference. Any question before I continue? And you must continue to practice to be able to understand all these things we are saying. So if you don't understand something that I have said so far, please ask question. I'll explain myself. It's very important that you understand how to do your references. Other than that, you find yourself wanting when you are writing your article.
Sir, please kindly go over.
Okay. I am saying that if you look at, we are talking about journal articles referencing. I hope everybody know what we call journal.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So when you are doing that, the first thing you have to do is get the name of the artist, those who wrote that particular paper that you are reading. Get their first names. Their surnames, not the first names. Their surnames. Get their surnames. And when you get their surnames, it's followed with what? The date on which they published their paper. Sometimes the paper is written maybe 2019, but eventually by the time they publish the paper is 2021. So after the names come, that is the surnames come, what follows is what? The year. The year is always what? In brackets when you are using APA. That is what we are referring to as a parenthesis. Then after the year come, the title of the work follow. The title of the work follow. After the title of the work, the source where you have gotten that particular work from also followed. After that, you also have what? The page numbers. So you clearly see the first one, you see the artist, you see the number one, the artist. So if you follow the numbers, you can do it. The name of the writers came first, the artist. Number two, the year of publication, the year that particular paper was published. The third is what? The title of that particular article you are reading. The title of that particular work. The title that you are reading. Come. After that, the title of the journal in which the paper was published must also follow. The title of the journal in which the article that you have read was published. Then after that, you see number 5, the volume of the paper. And I was explaining myself that the volume is simply telling you that when the journals are publishing articles, they create volumes or they create some kind of differentiations. So they take, for example, volume 1, and they decide that we are going to publish 20 articles in volume 1. Then we close that volume. Then we open volume 2. That's all I'm talking about. Then when the volume comes, even when they publish only one article in that, they call that article issue 1. Issued 1. That's the first issue of the article in that particular volume. The issued is what? 1. If it is the second paper that they publish in that particular journal or that particular volume, they name it what? Issue 2. If it is 3, the 3 will be there. If it is 20, the 20 will be there. Then after that, they'll give you the range of the page in which you can identify that particular article. If it is 1 to 10, you see 1 to 10. If it is 19 to 30, you see 19 to 30. If it is 150 to 200, you see 150 to 200. Then after that, we call something DOI. That is digital object identifier. That is when you use the internet, the digital way. Even if you don't bring the whole title, if you get those numbers, the digital address, just like we have the digital address in Ghana now, you can locate that particular paper. So all of this must be observed when you are doing APA referencing and using what? The simple article that you have retrieved and you read and you want to what? Reference it. So you see the example is here. The names came first. All the names are here. Padilla and Deco are here. All the names have come. And you see that after the names, the year followed, that's 2004. So this article was published in 2004. The year is there. Sorry, the year is there for everybody to see. This article was published in 2004. Then after that, you see what? The title of that particular article. And the title is what? Understanding Breast Cancer Experience of Women. And which kind of women are they talking about? They say, sorry, what kind of study it is? It's a qualitative study involving what? African American, Asian American, Latino, Caucasian cancer survivors. These are the people among which the research was conducted. Then in which paper, which journal, you can locate that particular article. It's what? Psycho-oncology. Psycho-oncology paper or journal. When you open it, you can get this particular paper or this particular article. Then they'll give you what? The volume. It's what? Volume 13. So when you take that psycho-oncology, they are publishing papers. They have gotten to volume 13. It is in volume 13 that this paper was published. And this paper was number 6 in the volume 13. That is the issue number. So you see clearly the issue number is in bracket 6 here. Then when you take that particular journal, which page will you find this article? The pages are arranged. It ranges from 408 to 428. And the DOI, that is Digital Object Identifier, the address follow. So without this article, this title that we have mentioned, if you get this address right, you can equally get this paper. So that is all I have said. And I have repeated myself. So if you have any question, please ask. Are we following?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we can look at the second one. If, for example, the papers that you are reading, they are news or magazine articles. When they are published, they are news item, or they just publish them in magazines, not articles, not in journals. The way you also reference differ a bit. So in that case, you bring the author name first. You list each author's last name as we have been saying all along, and initials as follow. The author A, author B, and C. Then use the ampersand. We already know what ampersand is before the final author's name. So the magazine number 2, the year, the month, and the date. Unlike the articles where we did not include the year, sorry, we did not include the dates, we did not include the months. When it comes to magazines and news items, you must also include the months and the date. You remember that those ones that we look at, we only mention what? The year. We did not indicate what? The months and the date. But when it comes to these new magazines or news magazine you want to reference, you must give us the year, the months, and the date. You don't need to what? Abbreviate the month. There's no need for you to do that. There's no way you can do that. You cannot abbreviate anything. So look at the article, the title of the article that you have found in the magazine or newspaper. For the works that are part of the greater works or the greater whole, for example, articles or chapters, use sentence case, only the first word of the title and the subtitle and proper nouns are capitalized. So you can capitalize the proper nouns, the title and subtitle in the write-up of your article title when you are referencing that using magazines and then news items. So the fourth one is the title of the paper or publication. The note, you must italize and capitalize each word in the publication. Then when you move out of that, you have to use what? URL. What is URL? URL. What is the full meaning?
Universal Resource Locator.
Thank you. So that must also follow. Then if you see the example here, the surname is Kennedy. The year is 2018. The month is October. And the date is what? 15th. The title follow that prevent wildfires. Then where you can find that, the magazine in which you can find that, you see PG&E, preemptively cuts power to thousands in California. NPR, and you can also look at what? Where you can locate the resources, that is URL. You see www.npr.org 2018 October 2015. Then some numbers follow to prevent wildfires. PGE preemptively cuts power to thousands in what? California. So this is magazine or news item, and this is how it's also referenced. It's different from referencing journal articles, and clearly you have seen. In the first one, we have not seen any month, we have not seen date, we only see a year. But over here, we are seeing a month. We have seen a date,